welcome to this video that's going to share with you how I use OneNote to take my notes, and it will also demonstrate a wide range of different techniques that we've been exploring on this note-taking course. So to get into OneNote, you can go to onenote.com and either sign in with your student or personal account. Once you've logged into there, you'll have the opportunity to create a new OneBook, and as you can see, I've already created mine. I've added appropriate titles, so I would suggest that you have one notebook for each of your different modules that you're taking. So some key things that I would include in terms of sections on the left hand side here. Think of these sections like as chapters of a book. I've got one for general information where we'll start to put a module guide in there. We'll put some key dates in too, and then we'll start to have sections each week. So we'll add a section each week for our different notes relating to that week's worth of content. And obviously you can change that around as you get used to your note-taking sort of organisation system. And have a section for assignment and a section for those important references that you need to keep as you take your notes as you go along. So we'll go up to the first section, general information here, and you can see that there's actually one page in here, and if I wanted to add any more, I can just click on add page and I can add another one, but I'm quite happy with my one here. So what I'm going to do is I put my title module guide in here, and I'm going to attach my module guide to my notes, and this will link to the video that showed you how to insert PDFs, but I'm going to go to insert, then file, insert a file printout, and I am going to use this one here. Okay, and what you'll see is it's going to start loading the different pages from my module guide, as you can see here. So it's really easy to see, and it means that I can also now start to make notes directly on the screen if I wanted to into my notebook. So I'm going to show you how to do that in one of the later pages. But so what you'll see here is I was just able to add all of that onto that page. So I've got easy access, and I've got those important key dates as well, which you will find just here under assessment information. Okay, so I can put that information in my key dates. That was the 6th of January 2023 by midday. If you notice here, I've actually used a little star, which for me means action. And I put it in capitals. You don't have to. I could have colour coded it, but I also could have used one of my tags. And to go to tags, I'm going to go to home and then move across to here, and you'll see tags. And what I can do is I could perhaps use a to-do tag here, and it leaves me a box, and then I can click it when I've actually done it. Alternatively, type that one out again, I might decide to use the star, as that's just an important. So whatever system you use, you get used to it and be consistent with the tags. But that just means I can easily scroll down, and it always comes up on the left hand side of that line to see what I need to do. So I quite like the to-do boxes there. Okay, so let's look at our actual notes for week 1. Now what you're going to see here is I've actually got 2 pages on here, so I'm going to go to the note section first. Now if you remember in our learning on the course, you're recommended to really do some reading before you attend class, during class, and then of course after class or lecture. So I'm actually going to put some headings here. So I've got pre-lecture reading. Let's change that to a heading. So I'll highlight that, go to styles, and I'll put that as heading 1. So now it's quite bold. Got that here. So I've done some reading. I've read Laura Lard's book, 2012. So make sure I've got the reference. And this time I've used the book tag. So I've gone to tags and I've clicked down. I've used the book one already. So obviously there we go, book to read. And then I've got that there already. What I will need to make sure is that that book later on goes in my references section, so I keep all the information that I need for later on when we complete that assignment. So I've taken some key notes. You notice that I've used here, I've put some things in red. That means just key terms for me, just to help me visually. You can highlight, you can use the highlighter pens. We'll just do that. I can highlight sections, I can use different fonts, I can make it bold, whatever works for you. An important consideration was to perhaps think of questions that you might have for your actual lecture. So what I've done is I put the symbol Q for question. Is it possible to learn just from acquisition? That just reminds me to see if I can get that addressed in my lecture, and I more likely will do. If it hasn't, it means I can quickly look through and perhaps ask that in the session. Alternatively, instead of the Q, I can use my tag and I can use the question symbol. So again, it comes up nicely in the left-hand margin, keeps away from the main notes. So I could scan down quickly what I've got to, what I want to ask. So it's my pre-lecture reading there. You'll also notice I've got a page number and some quotation marks. If you remember, we've also mentioned that it's really important to make sure you take the page number of anything that you have directly taken word for word from your source of reference, and that avoids unintentional plagiarism. Okay, so we've got our class notes. Let's go and put a new heading here. Okay, now this time I've prepared some notes already for you to see, and I've actually saved the PowerPoint presentation as a PDF. So I did what we did earlier for the module guide under general information. I went to insert here and file and insert file printout. Now what I can do is I can actually start to write notes to the left hand or to the right hand side of my notebook. So for example, this part is important. It means that I don't need to write word for word what has been written on the slideshow. I only need to take the really important parts. I can also use the draw function at the top here. So for example, if there was something really important here I want to take a note of, I might use the highlighter pen. I can use different colours. Let's go for pink this time. And I can highlight the key parts of my presentation. So that's a brilliant feature to be able to use. And to get back to the mouse, I need to click back on type. And if I want to erase anything, I can use the eraser button and get rid of it there. Okay, so really nice and easy, and saves you on spending money on highlighter pens as well. And that's the same going all the way through. If I wanted to remove a slide, what I can just do is click on that slide, and you'll see that there's a dotted line going all the way around. I can just delete that, and that's only deleted that one slide. So I can get rid of those slides that perhaps haven't been used. I might decide this one here, I want to say links to LO2, so learning outcome 2, and just so that I've got somewhere where I remember, okay, that links to it, but I haven't had to write it out. Okay, and I'll scroll down to the bottom, and then I've got my post lecture reading here. Let's just go and highlight that again, just that style, put that heading, make it a little bit neatly, put it neatly. And this time you'll notice that I have got the idea tag here. So this is an idea which makes me think, okay, this is something that I need to think about myself. So I've taken a lot of notes from reading, but I've also got some things that are in my own words, the things that I perhaps could really consider. So I've written could compare with SAMR model here. I might put a highlighter pen on it as well. And it just indicates, oh, that's something I could think about, or something, my own thoughts. You'll get used to using the different tags on here. There's a great range of different ones that you may want to use and have a little look at. In my notes, we really encourage you to summarise your notes after. So I've added a page here, a summary and a to-do list. So I'm going to put that as a heading. It does make it a lot easier to have headings when you look back. And I've put something like the purpose of today's session was, and I would just sort of summarise what the purpose of the session was, and what were my key learning points. What were the key learning points that I've taken away from today's session? Summarise in your own words. And I might want to put an overall links to learning outcomes that particular session overall link to. I might also want to have a to-do list. So let's do it in heading 2. So I might want to summarise all my points that I need to do as a result of that session. And I can create a simple table, or you can use bullet points. It's entirely up to you. I've used a table here just to make it really neat. I'll just go to insert and table there, how many columns, rows you want. I've just put one with action. So what is it that I've got to do? Then when by, so when do I want to complete it by, and any notes that you might have as well. Just keeps it, enables you to look back at those notes, look back at those to-do points that you had that you may have tagged, and summarize them all in one place. Okay, so moving on to the assignment section here. This is the point where I might add my mind map if I've been using one here. I've got one created using spiderscribe.net, but we've also mentioned MindMap to you. There's a number of different free software, or I may have just written out a spider diagram as an example and taken a picture and added a picture on that too. It's also worth bearing in mind that you can add pictures to any of these sections. So if, for example, you took some written notes, you just take a photo of your notes and stick that in your relevant section. And then finally, I've got a reference tab here, and keeping a list of all the references that I've been taking. So earlier we used Laurillard, so that's the one that I used. The other ones I'm going to be using as well at some point. And I've made sure that I've referenced it using the Harvard referencing guidelines that you've been provided to ensure that you meet the requirements in terms of referencing. And really that is it. I think hopefully this has given you a really good overview of how you can take notes digitally, but also how you can use paper notes by taking photos and adding them in, and then you can write around them, and how you can really organise your notes for that, for ease of reading and for that assignment or revision preparation. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Bye.